The deception begins. Commander Vex stood at the observation deck of his scout vessel, the Stellar Fang, watching the third planet of this unremarkable yellow star system slowly rotate before him. The blue and green world looked peaceful, almost inviting. His scaled fingers danced across the control panel as he initiated a deep scan of the planet's surface and surrounding space. The Zephyrian Empire had been expanding across the galaxy for over 1,000 years, and Vex had personally overseen the conquest of 17 different worlds. He knew what to look for in a potential target, and this planet called Earth showed all the signs of being an easy victory. The scanner results made Dex's reptilian features twist into what his species considered a smile. The planet's inhabitants had barely achieved basic spaceflight. Their most advanced vessels were crude metal contraptions that burned chemical fuel, nothing more sophisticated than the toys his own children played with. The energy signatures from their cities were laughably weak, suggesting power generation, methods that the Zephyrians had abandoned centuries ago. Most importantly, there were no orbital defense platforms, no energy shields protecting the planet, and no military installations visible from space. The beings down there were completely defenseless. Vex activated his communication array and sent a priority message back to the Zephyrian homeworld. The transmission would take several cycles to reach Supreme Admiral Crix, but the information it contained would surely please the High Command. Another world ripe for conquest, another species ready to kneel before the Empire's might. Far below, on Earth's surface, in a facility buried 3 kilometers beneath the Colorado Rocky Mountains, Director Sarah Chen received an alert that made her heart race. The alien scout ship had just transmitted a long-range message toward the Zephyrian home system. After 40 years of preparation, the moment humanity had been dreading and anticipating had finally arrived. Sarah had been only 12 years old when the first Zephyrian probe had crashed in the Sahara Desert. The world's governments had managed to keep that incident secret, but the technology recovered from the wreckage had changed everything. Humanity's brightest minds had spent 4 decades reverse engineering alien technology, building weapons and defenses that no enemy would expect from a supposedly primitive species. The deception had been humanity's greatest achievement. Every radio transmission, every energy signature, every piece of technology visible from space had been carefully crafted to appear centuries behind what Earth actually possessed. Fake, primitive. Satellites orbited the planet while the real defensive systems remained hidden. Ancient radar installations broadcast weak signals while concealing quantum targeting arrays. To any alien observer, Earth looked like a world of helpless a priori MITIV. Sarah pressed her palm against the biometric scanner and spoke into the secure communicator. All station commanders, this is Director Chen. Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. Repeat, Sleeping Giant is active. Begin final preparations immediately. General Marcus Webb was in the hidden command center beneath the Pentagon when Sarah's message came through. He had been waiting for this moment since joining the program 25 years ago. Marcus activated the holographic display that showed the true scope of Earth's defenses, a network of hidden weapons and shield generators that spanned the entire planet. The orbital platforms disguised as space debris powered up their quantum cannons. The lunar mining facilities revealed themselves to be massive railgun installations. The innocent-looking research stations, scattered throughout the solar system, activated their phase disruptors. Earth was not the defenseless world it appeared to be. Marcus opened a channel to his commanders around the globe. All units, prepare for Phase 1 implementation. Remember, we get only one chance to surprise them. Make it count. Dr. Alina Vasquez. was in her laboratory beneath the Swiss Alps, making final adjustments to the weapon system that would determine humanity's fate. The Prometheus array was her life's work, a device that could manipulate space-time itself to create devastating gravitational anomalies. The aliens had given humanity the theoretical foundation for such technology when their probe crashed, but Alina and her team had perfected it far beyond what the Zephyrians thought possible. The quantum computers showed all systems operating at peak efficiency. The fusion reactors were generating more power than entire cities consumed. The targeting systems could track and engage thousands of enemy vessels simultaneously. When the time came, the Prometheus array would demonstrate just how far humanity had advanced. Elena's assistant, Dr. James Morrison, reviewed the final calculations. The gravitational pulse generators are ready. The spacefold disruptors are online. The quantum torpedo launchers are loaded and targeted. We can defend against any fleet they send. Alina nodded, her eyes fixed on the massive display showing the alien scout ships still orbiting Earth. They think we're primitives, playing with chemical rockets. They have no idea we've been building weapons that could challenge the gods themselves. On the bridge of the Stellar Fang, Commander Vex received new orders from the Empire. Supreme Admiral Crix had been impressed by the reconnaissance report and was personally leading a conquest fleet to claim this new world. 300 of the Empire's finest warships would arrive within 30 cycles. More than enough firepower to reduce the planet's major cities to ash within hours. Dex studied the tactical data one more time. The inhabitants of Earth had achieved nuclear weapons, but their delivery systems were primitive missiles that could be easily intercepted. Their space program was laughably basic, with only a few dozen satellites and a small orbital station. The planet's military forces used chemical projectile weapons and simple aircraft. They would surrender within hours of seeing the Imperial fleet. The commander began drafting his final report. The conquest of Earth would be so easy that it would barely qualify as a battle. The Empire would gain a new world, billions of new slaves, and access to the planet's abundant natural resources, all without losing a single Zephyrian life. Sarah Chen stood in the war room, surrounded by representatives from every major nation on Earth. The secret that had been kept for 40 years was finally being revealed to the world's leaders. Presidents, prime ministers, and military commanders listened in stunned silence as Sarah explained the true situation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not alone in the universe, and we are not defenseless. For 4 decades, humanity has been preparing for this moment. Every advanced nation on Earth has contributed to our defensive systems. What the aliens see as primitive technology is actually an elaborate deception designed to lure them into a trap. The President of the United States spoke first. How confident are you that these weapons will work? Sarah activated the holographic display showing Earth's hidden arsenal. Mr. President, we're not just confident, we're certain. The aliens gave us the key to their own defeat when their probe crashed 40 years ago. We've had for decades 2 perfect weapons they can't even imagine. The Chinese premier asked, how many ships are they sending? Our intelligence suggests around 300 vessels, Sarah replied. More than enough to destroy any conventional military force. But they're expecting to face humans with chemical rockets and nuclear weapons. They have no idea what we've actually built. General Webb stepped forward. The alien fleet will arrive in approximately 30 days. We'll let them approach Earth, let them feel confident in their superiority. Then we'll show them what humanity is really capable of. The Russian president leaned forward. And if this plan fails? Sarah met his gaze steadily. If this plan fails, sir, then humanity will face extinction. But I give you my word that it will not fail. We've spent 40 years preparing for this moment. We are ready. Commander Vex completed his final orbital scan of Earth before departing for the rendezvous with the Imperial fleet. The planet below remained blissfully unaware of its approaching doom. The primitive inhabitants continued their daily routines, completely oblivious to the fact that their world had been marked for conquest. Asterisk. Commander Vex completed his final orbital scan of Earth before departing for the rendezvous with the Imperial fleet. The planet below remained blissfully unaware of its approaching doom. The primitive inhabitants continued their daily routines, completely oblivious to the fact that their world had been marked for conquest. As the stellar Fang prepared to jump to hyperspace, Vex took one last look at the blue world that would soon belong to the Empire. He almost felt sorry for the beings down there. They seemed so peaceful, so innocent. Within a few cycles, their civilization would be crushed beneath the Empire's might, and the survivors would spend their lives serving their Zephyrian masters. The scout ship vanished in a flash of light, leaving Earth apparently alone in its solar system. But deep beneath the planet's surface, in hidden facilities around the world, humanity's greatest weapon was about to be tested. The aliens thought they were facing a primitive, defenseless world. They were about to discover just how wrong they could be. Sarah Chen watched the alien scout ship disappear on her screens and smiled. The trap was set. The bait had been taken. Now all humanity had to do was wait for the most powerful military force in the galaxy to walk straight into the most sophisticated ambush in the history of warfare. The countdown to humanity's greatest test had begun. Asterisk. The 5-minute War Supreme Admiral Crix stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Void Crusher, watching the blue planet grow larger on the view screen. Behind him, 300 of the Empire's finest warships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. The sight was magnificent and terrifying, a display of power that had brought entire civilizations to their knees. The Admiral's crimson scales gleamed under the bridge lights as he studied the tactical displays. Long-range sensors confirmed what the scout ship had reported. Earth showed no defensive preparations, no energy shields, no orbital weapon platforms. The planet's primitive inhabitants seemed completely unaware that their doom had arrived. Communications, open a channel to the planet, Crix commanded. Let's offer these primitives a chance to surrender before we demonstrate our power. The message broadcast across all of Earth's communication frequencies was simple and direct. Inhabitants of the third planet, you are now subjects of the Zephyrian Empire. Surrender immediately, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will make your species extinct, slowly and painfully. In the hidden command center beneath Colorado. Director Sarah Chen smiled as she heard the alien ultimatum. General Webb, activate all defensive systems. It's time to show our guests what human hospitality really looks like. Across the Earth, hidden installations that had masqueraded as ordinary buildings for decades suddenly revealed their true purpose. The fake radio tower in Nevada split open to reveal a massive quantum cannon. The innocent-looking weather station in Siberia unfolded into a gravitational pulse generator. The abandoned mine in Australia activated its spacefold disruptor array. Admiral Crix frowned as his sensors detected sudden energy spikes from across the planet's surface. What are those readings? Are they trying to activate some kind of primitive defense grid? His tactical officer, Commander Vex, studied the data with confusion. Sir, the energy signatures don't match any known primitive technology. These readings are ... impossible. On Earth, Dr. Elena Vasquez spoke into her communicator from deep beneath the Swiss Alps. Prometheus Array is fully charged and ready to fire. All targeting systems are locked onto enemy vessels, awaiting final authorization. Sarah Chen's voice crackled through the speakers. You are authorized to engage. Show them what 40 years of preparation can accomplish. The first shot came from the hidden base on the far side of the moon. A beam of concentrated gravitational energy struck the Zephyrian fleet's lead destroyer, and the massive warship simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not damaged, but completely erased from reality as its atomic structure was scattered across several dimensions. Admiral Crix watched in horror as one of his most powerful ships vanished without a trace. What weapon could do that? This is impossible. The second wave of attacks came from Earth's orbital platforms, disguised as primitive satellites for 4 decades. Quantum torpedoes that could phase through shields struck 12 more vessels simultaneously. The alien ship's energy barriers offered no protection against weapons that existed in a different dimensional phase. Commander Vex's voice cracked with panic. Sir, we're detecting massive energy buildups all across the planet. They have weapons we've never seen before. The third wave was the most devastating. The Prometheus Array activated, creating a localized gravitational anomaly that pulled 50 Zephyrian ships into an artificial black hole. The vessels stretched and compressed as they crossed the event horizon, their crews experiencing the horror of spaghettification as they were torn apart by tidal forces. Full retreat, Admiral Crix screamed. All ships, retreat immediately. But the human weapons were faster than the alien ships. The spacefold disruptors activated across the solar system, creating barriers in space-time that prevented hyperspace jumps. The Zephyrian fleet was trapped, unable to escape the system they had entered so confidently. General Webb watched the battle unfold from his command center, his face grim but determined. Launch the hunter-killer drones. Don't let any of them escape to report back to their empire. Thousands of small, swift craft launched from hidden bays across Earth and its colonies. These weren't the primitive rockets the aliens expected, but advanced fighters that could bend space around themselves for faster-than-light travel. Each drone was equipped with weapons that could slice through alien armor like paper. The Zephyrian fleet, once proud and seemingly invincible, was being systematically destroyed by an enemy they had completely underestimated. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were reduced to debris in minutes. The Empire's most advanced weapons were useless against human technology that seemed to violate the known laws of physics. Admiral Crix watched helplessly as his fleet was annihilated around him. How is this possible? Our scouts reported primitives with chemical rockets. His answer came in the form of a human transmission broadcast directly to his ship. Sarah Chun's voice filled the Zephyrian bridge, calm and confident. Admiral, you made the same mistake that every bully makes. You assumed that quiet meant weak. Humanity has been preparing for this moment for 40 years. We wanted you to underestimate us. The Admiral's eyes widened in realization. You knew we were coming. We've known about your empire since your first probe crashed on our world decades ago. We studied your technology, improved upon it, and built weapons specifically designed to counter your forces. You thought you were conquering a primitive world. Instead, you've attacked the most advanced military force in this galaxy. The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted exactly 5 minutes and 37 seconds. Of the 300 ships that had entered the solar system, only 12 managed to escape when the spacefold barriers briefly flickered. The rest were destroyed, captured, or simply erased from existence. Admiral Crix found himself aboard one of the few surviving vessels racing through hyperspace toward Zephyrian territory. His proud fleet had been reduced to a handful of damaged ships, carrying the news of the Empire's first major defeat in over 1,000 years. Dr. Elena Vasquez powered down the Prometheus array, her life's work having exceeded every expectation. All weapon systems are standing down. The immediate threat has been eliminated. General Webb addressed his commanders around the globe. Excellent work, everyone. Begin salvage operations on the alien wrecks. We'll learn everything we can about their technology and military capabilities. Sarah Chen stood before the world's leaders, who had watched the battle unfold in stunned silence. Ladies and gentlemen, humanity has just announced its presence to the galaxy. We are no longer hiding. We are no longer pretending to be primitive. From this moment forward, Earth will be known as the world that destroyed an Imperial fleet in less than 6 minutes. The surviving Zephyrian ships limped back to their home world, carrying news that would shake the Empire to its foundations. The beings of Earth were not primitives to be conquered. They were apex predators, disguised as prey, and they had been patiently waiting for the perfect moment to reveal their true nature. Commander Vex, aboard one of the few ships that escaped, transmitted his final report to the Empire. High Command, I must revise my previous assessment. The beings of Earth are not primitives. They are the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. Recommend immediate classification as a critical threat. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage. But it was too late. The battle had been broadcast across the galaxy by human deep space transmitters. Every species that had ever feared the Zephyrian Empire now knew that there was a world capable of stopping them. Earth had become the most feared planet in known space, and humanity had claimed its place as the galaxy's newest apex predator. The empire that had conquered 1,000 worlds had been humbled by a species they thought was defenseless. The hunters had become the hunted, and the age of Zephyrian dominance was over. In the depths of space, other alien empires detected the broadcasts and began making their own plans. Some sought to forge alliances with these dangerous humans. Others plotted to destroy Earth before it could threaten their own territories. But all of them understood one fundamental truth: humanity was no longer a species to be underestimated. The 5-minute war had changed everything. The galaxy would never be the same.